Hello everyone, welcome. Today we're going to be talking about new fragrance releases that have been announced over this past week, and I'm going to be discussing whether or not I personally want to get them and why. This is a series I do here on this channel every single Monday where we sit back and we basically play smash or pass, for lack of a better terminology, with the new fragrance releases. And I really have fun doing these kinds of videos because it's a great way to kind of see what's going on in the space, but also be a little bit more analytical about what's coming out so we can make better and more educated decisions about what we actually add into our collection. If this is your first time watching this channel, hello, my name is Anya. I love fragrances and I talk about them here every single Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, along with a ton of bonus content in between, so if you're interested, do consider subscribing. I'm filming pretty early in the morning this time, so hopefully the glare is not going to be too irritating because this is what we're working with right now. First up, we have a release from Zoologist, and if you're unfamiliar with this brand, they're a Canadian niche brand that specializes in creating inspired fragrances based off of animals and their environments. The whole concept of the brand is very artistic, very experimental. A lot of their fragrances are known to be a little bit polarizing, so sometimes people, for example, T-Rex, people really don't like that fragrance, or sometimes people like it, but it's a very polarizing perfume, if you get my meaning. So this new release is actually very interesting. So this is going to be called King Cobra, and this is going to be consisting of notes of petitgrain, mandarin, fig leaf, camphor, pomelo, and ganga accord at the top, a heart of black tea, cumin, leather, and soil accord, and then a base of incense, amber, moss, patchouli, and vetiver. So this fragrance is supposed to make you feel utterly supreme, dangerous, and quite dominant. It's supposed to be a camphorous perfume, and it's supposed to also play around with the animal's environment, right? So like in this case, you have the cobra who kind of like slithers around in the soil, so that's why they have that soil element. And then the green leather accord is supposed to kind of mimic the cobra shedding its skin. So again, this is very like artistic, and to be honest, I actually don't really own anything from Zoologist, but I do have my fair share of samples and decants, and I would actually be open to doing a video smelling through them if you're interested in seeing that. But this might be an unpopular opinion. I really like Zoologist, and I haven't purchased a full bottle from them yet, but I feel like I might be on my way to doing so, and this actually does seem to be really exciting for me and interesting. There was a point in my like fragrance journey, if you will, where I was super interested in only the fragrances that smelled traditionally or like uh, traditionally good, you know, like the gourmands. Everyone loves a gourmand. But now that I've like collected so much and I've smelled so much, I get really excited by the unusual fragrances. And this with like the kind of a camphor concept and like the incensey and the earthiness, I feel like I would actually really like this. Again, I feel like Zoologist is, I don't know, I kind of go like either way because one of the reasons why I don't think I own a full, like, one of the reasons why I don't own a full bottle from Zoologist is because I haven't really encountered a perfume yet from them that I feel like I would use up entirely, because I do have a travel spray of one of their fragrances and I barely have gone through that because their fragrances are some of the strongest that I've encountered. So this is definitely a test before you buy kind of fragrance for sure. But let me know, what do you think of Zoologist? Have you heard of this brand? And are you excited about this release as well? So new from Fragrance World, they have a gourmand-inspired collection of 3 fragrances, so let's go over them. We have Luscious, Merengue, and Sweet Paradise. So Luscious is going to be a nutty vanilla fragrance with top notes of pistachio, bergamot, and cardamom, a mid of saffron and peanut, and then a base of vanilla, tonka, honey, and musk. Next, Merengue or Merengue. What's the right way to pronounce it? Let me know. But this is going to be a woody amber perfume with top notes of pineapple, bergamot, and mandarin, a mid of sandalwood and suede, and then a base of ambergris, birch, white musk, and vanilla. And then finally, Sweet Paradise will be a fruity floral fragrance with top notes of ambrette, mandarin, and musk, a mid of peach, peony, and orris, and then a base of tonka, heliotrope, and barley. That sounds very interesting and quite unusual, and I would say if I had to choose like my favorite based on the notes purely, I would say Sweet Paradise seems to be the most interesting. Even though they have that note of barley, I feel like it would still be an interesting fragrance for me to try out. I'm kind of a little bit cautious about merengue because this seems to be kind of mixing a lot of concepts together, and I'm a little bit cautious about the idea of having like a smoky dark fragrance with pineapple. I feel like that will lean masculine. And like smoky and dark, I mean, it's not, there's no incense in here. This has suede and sandalwood, but I feel like the suede and sandalwood combo with the pineapple and the citruses might lean a little bit more masculine that I personally want. And yes, like I don't think that you need to limit yourself based on like masculine or feminine when it comes to fragrances or what is traditionally known as masculine and feminine, but this is like a combo that I personally stay away from. I mean, I like a lot of masculine leaning scents, but not pineapple. So like that's just my personal preference. I feel like I'd be willing to check this out, but I'm kind of like at a point where I'm trying to be super selective with what I'm getting, and just because something happens to be affordable doesn't necessarily mean I want to get a full bottle outright. This is something I'd be interested in trying in a decant form, but with what my collection is looking like right now, I don't know if I'd want to just like blind buy a fragrance just because. And I would say I like the notes here, but it's not speaking to me enough to like actually go out and like buy a full bottle, if that makes any sense. But yeah, let me know what you think. So we have a new release from Heretic. They're reformatting their perfume called Dirty Rose. So if you're unfamiliar, Heretic, they're kind of known for like creating alternative scents. So they have like, I think dirty coconut, dirty vanilla, I believe, and they have dirty rose now. So Douglas Little, the founder of Heretic, had initially created a rose fragrance that was very much in keeping with other rose fragrances. It was sweet, like, you know, typical floral rose, but now he wants to kind of reformat. So he pretty much did a 180, and he has launched a fragrance that is essentially playing with rose, but in a different way. So this fragrance is essentially supposed to be like really dark, and the rose is apparently quite subdued. So we have top notes of pink pepper, nutmeg, and cedar, a mid of elemi, blackcurrant, cumin, and rose, and then a base of vanilla bean, patchouli, labdanum, and cypriol. So Heretic is definitely one of my fragrance, or one of the fragrance brands on my to try list. I am really curious about the brand. I would like to try them out. So this seems like an interesting concept. Again, I love darker, more inventive scent profiles, and I feel like this is a fragrance that I would actually be open to trying out. So last week I teased Pernoire's newest release. I talked about like the general concept behind it. We didn't have a name, we didn't have a lot of information, but in between last week's and this week's video, they have launched their newest perfume, Timo, which is inspired by a phoenix rising from the ashes, and this will include, or this does include, notes of quince, cardamom, and rum at the top, a heart of tobacco, praline, patchouli, and tonka, and then a base of cedarwood, vanilla, and osmanthus. A lot of people have already received their bottles and they're doing reviews on them. I'm in contact with the PR distribution company, and I believe I'll be getting this fragrance in November because they're prioritizing a bunch of other influencers with this release, and it makes sense because this release is getting really hyped, so they have to prioritize some other influencers. So I think I'll be getting this perfume sometime in November, so that's when I'll be able to do my review on it. I was thinking of buying it, but honestly, if I'm getting it in PR, I might as well just do my review when I get it in PR, and there are a bunch of really good influencers that have already received this fragrance. So I would definitely suggest checking out their videos if you're interested in kind of learning more about the fragrance. I do have a code with Pernoire already, so if you're interested in getting some money off of the discovery set, which now does include a little sample of Timo, then definitely check the description box below so you can get some money off of that discovery set. I do believe they've lowered the price on it, which is fantastic, fantastic. I love a good discovery set, and theirs is quite good. So again, I'm really excited about this release, and I'm looking forward to getting it. So yes, this is Otimo by Pernoire. I feel like this will be like one of my favorite releases of the year, because Kama from them, which they released earlier this year, is literally easily one of my top fragrances of this year. So I have high expectations, and I'm really excited for this launch. Tumi, which is a Canadian luxury brand, is launching 4 new fragrances to add to their Extrait line, I believe. And this will consist of the following. So we have Whisper, which consists of black plum, red rose, and earthy moss. And then we have Renaissance, which includes notes of black currant, Narcisse Absolute, and tonka bean. Next, we have Utopia, which includes notes of pink pepper, jasmine, and vanilla. And finally, we have the Signature, which includes notes of apple blossom, pomegranate, and amberwood. So I'm like kind of interested in these. I'm not like, I don't think any of the notes are jumping out at me as something that I must try. I feel like the sleek and minimal design of these bottles is interesting because Tumi is known as a luggage brand, right? So I feel like them creating these fragrance bottles kind of like gives me luggage vibes. I don't know if that makes any sense, but you know, like the minimal clean lines, this looks like it would fit with a luggage brand. But yeah, nothing's really jumping out at me as something that I must try. So yeah, this is just like, it's like, I mean, I'm sure this is going to be okay for some people, but like, this is not necessarily something that I'm going to be like going out of my way to try out. I'm just being honest too, to put it bluntly. So next up, we have Signature Seraphim by Zaharoff. So this comes in a very bright red bottle, and bright red and gold bottle, and this is available for pre-order. And this is supposed to be marketed towards men, and this is the more intense version of their previous release called Seraphim Blue, and it's supposed to complement that fragrance. So this will have top notes of pink pepper, pine, and eucalyptus, a heart of marine accord, red seaweed, orange blossoms, and ylang-ylang, and then a base of sandalwood, white musk, amber, and gold vetiver. I haven't tried that much from Zahara. They're, again, one of those brands I want to get more into. They had a pistachio fragrance that I have a decant of, and I can say that that fragrance was extremely intense and very like, I mean, they really amped up the intensity of it, so I feel like that's might be what they're known for. So red seaweed, what does that smell like? Yeah, the perfumer behind this is Claude Deer. It's interesting because in the brief they talk about cinnamon and they don't include it in the notes list, so I feel like that's a little bit inconsistent, so I'm not sure. But first of all, I will say I love the bottle. I feel like the bottle is absolutely beautiful. I love the red and gold design. But what do you think? Have you tried Zahar extensively? Like, what are your thoughts? Have you tried the blue one? And are you interested in this kind of like different version of the brand or different version of the fragrance? Let me know. We have a new release from Rasasi. They are coming out with Hawas Black. And Hawas is one of their, I would say, most well-known fragrances. Hawas per men is, or for men, is pretty viral. A lot of people have tried it. Actually, Hawas for women is the one that people don't really talk about, but I actually really like that fragrance. It's really good and I do recommend it. But this is a masculine fragrance that's supposed to embody power, elegance, and charm. These marketing briefs make me laugh. But this will have top notes of pineapple, grapefruit, and bergamot, a heart of cedarwood, patchouli, and jasmine, and then a base of oak moss and amber. This, I feel, again, you saw or you heard what I said before about the pineapple in masculine fragrances. I feel like if a masculine fragrance has pineapple, I'm not usually going to go for it. So this is going to be a pass for me personally, also as being marketed towards men. I mean, that shouldn't stop me, but like, the pineapple here is making me not necessarily want to check out this fragrance, but I feel like the Rasasi fragrances in general are pretty good, especially for men. So if you are a guy and you're looking for something a little bit more intense for the colder weather, this might be worth checking out. I feel like with the oak moss and amber, this will be a very like kind of the oak moss amber and patchouli, actually, this will be a heavy hitter, so this might be like a good transition fragrance for the fall winter. So Rasasi's Hawas Black, it looks kind of like an intense bottle, so there you go. We also have a new release by Jo Loves. So if you're unfamiliar, Jo Malone created her brand Jo Malone, and then it was acquired, I forget by who or by which conglomerate, but she had a no compete clause in her contract. And when it expired, she created Jo Loves, which is now like Jo Malone's brand. So if you're seeing a Jo Malone release, it's not going to be from Jo Malone herself, it's going to be from her brand. But Jo Loves is from Jo Malone. And also, the fragrances that she's done in collaboration with Zahara, those are also her fragrances that she has created. So this will be a little bit of like an unusual looking fragrance with notes of ginger, cardamom, tonka, and cashmere. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of really interested in this. I believe this will be available in Space NK, which is a British store, and on the website. They also have a candle available as well. I really do like the look of this. I feel like this will be right up my alley. I love vanilla scents, and I like fragrances with a little bit of a more with a little bit more intensity, especially since we're getting into the colder weather. This would absolutely be something that I would be interested in, especially since you have like the kind of soft spiciness with the ginger and cardamom. So this is something that I would be interested in trying. However, I don't believe this will be available in stores in the US. So I don't know how easy it would be to actually test it, and I don't know if I want to blind buy it. But if you are in the UK, have you heard about this perfume? And if so, what do you think? I'm actually kind of excited about it. We do have a new collection from Narciso Rodriguez. They are going to be launching 3 new scents called Radiant Magnolia, Rose Épicée, and Wild Tuberose. My French has absolutely gone downhill, if I'm being honest. But this will be celebrating the note of musk, which is what they're known for, and they're playing with it, or they're playing around with it quite a bit. So, if you're unfamiliar, Narciso Rodriguez is pretty much known for their musk fragrances. Like that's what they do. They do different variations of the musk note, and they're known for creating kind of like modern or modernized versions of musks in their perfume. I have Narciso by Narciso Rodriguez, which is a discontinued scent, but it's like my favorite musk of all time. So I am interested in this launch, and they are launching these 3. So let's get into the notes. So we have Radiant Magnolia. So this will have floral citrus accords with notes of ambrette, bergamot, and ginger at the top, a mid of magnolia, rose, and musk, and then a base of osmanthus and akigala wood. Next, the Rose Épicée, or Rose Peace fragrance, will have top notes of Davana, cardamom, mandarin, and candied fruits, okay, a mid of Bulgarian rose and musk, and then a base of amber, patchouli, tonka bean, and cashmere. And this will be an amber aromatic fragrance. I'm actually kind of interested in that one. And then Wild Tuberose will be a tuberose white floral fragrance with top notes of peach and jasmine tea, okay, a mid of tuberose and jasmine, and then a base of musk, amber, and cedarwood. I'm actually really interested in these fragrances. And the nice thing about Narciso Rodriguez is that I think they're pretty, I mean, they're available in department stores, so I feel like this will be pretty easy for me to test. It's pretty accessible for me, so I am actually kind of excited about this release. I am most interested in tuberose and the rose fragrance, but I am open to trying all of them. Not only do they do musks really well, but they also do white florals in a way that I really like. So this is going on the to try list for certain. I'm actually really excited about this release. We have a new launch from Seven Virtues. This will be called Candied Lychee, and it's actually already available in Sephora stores if you want to purchase it, but this will have top notes of lychee well, a top note of lychee, a heart of peony, and then a base of vanilla. So pretty simple on the scent pyramid. But I am actually looking forward to smelling this. I'm going to check to see if it's available in store because lychee is one of my favorite fragrance notes, and it's nice to see more designer brands incorporating lychee into their fragrances. Obviously, I think Carolina Herrera plays a little bit with lychee and peony. I might be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong. But I don't really know of many other designer brands that are also doing the same. So this is an interesting launch. The bottle, not gonna lie, is so pretty. Like the look of it looks so nice. I love the kind of photo that they have, or the graphic they have on there. I really do like this launch, and I'm actually curious about trying it out. I think I've sniffed a few of the fragrances, but nothing has really come to my attention that much. But this, I believe, is like the most excited I've been for one of their fragrances, because I, again, do love the note of lychee, but I feel like part of me feels like this might have been more appropriate to launch earlier in the year, like spring and summer, because I feel like this is the kind of fragrance I would very much like to wear in the spring and summer. But now that it's getting colder, or at least where I'm at, I don't know if this is necessarily something that I would be super interested in trying out or going out of my way to purchase personally. So, yeah, I mean, I feel like over the past few weeks, a few brands have released fragrances that just feel like they might be better suited for another part of the year, if that makes any sense. So, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's something that matters to you? Like, if a brand is releasing a fragrance that's like brighter and more airy in the kind of fall winter time, and releasing a fragrance that's like deeper and darker in the summer, is that something that bothers you? It's not that it bothers me, but I do understand that obviously like different parts of the world have like different climates and different seasons, but I feel like at least here where we are in this part of the world, um it would make sense to release fragrances that kind of coincide with the seasons, because I kind of don't understand it. And I understand, well, I mean, I do understand that some kind of supply chain issues can happen. So sometimes it does make sense to release a fragrance at a different point, because who knows what goes on behind the scenes, right? So still, I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts? Let me know. We have a new release from Cult Gaia. They're a fashion brand based in California, and they are coming out with some fragrances. Now, they're known for their handbags, but now they're launching fragrances. Obviously, they're not the first designer brand to do this, but it's interesting how when you have designer brands launching perfumes, they go for very, or not all the time, but much of the time, they go for kind of unusual bottle designs that then become a bit iconic, dare I say. So an example of this is Carolina Herrera. They're a fashion-based brand, but they came out with their Good Girl fragrances, which now are instantly recognizable. You can instantly know Carolina Herrera Good Girl perfume just by looking at the shape. So here they are going or coming out with some really interesting and unusual bottles. So essentially they're kind of like U-shaped bottles. And the creative director and founder of Cult Gaia, her name is Jasmine, her name, and the creative director and founder of Cult Gaia, her name is Jasmine Lariane Hekmat. She is of Iranian descent, so the names of these fragrances are inspired by by her heritage, and the names of the fragrances are in Farsi. So that's pretty interesting and quite personal. So let's get into the perfumes themselves. First up, we have Mass. This translates to intoxicating ecstasy. This is going to be an amber citrus perfume with top notes of bergamot and orange blossom, a mid of coconut and Haitian vetiver, and then a base of tonka bean, amber, and norlimbanol. Okay, that's interesting. And then we have Noor, which translates to light, and this is supposed to be a warmer, fresh, spicy perfume with top notes of black pepper and geranium, a mid of French rose and lavender, and then a base of Haitian vetiver and incense. Finally, Zan, meaning woman, will be a musky fragrance with top notes of Guatemalan cardamom and incense, a mid of ambrette and ambrox super, and then a base of pink pepper, cedar, and musk. Now, These perfumes are going to be available on the website, and I believe the price is, I think, a little bit more than $200. So they're definitely going for like the luxe niche kind of pricing. So with that in mind, I definitely wouldn't blind buy these perfumes. I believe they do have a sample set available, but I'm actually kind of curious about this fragrance, or these fragrances, and I'm really excited about them because I love a interesting and inventive concept that doesn't look like a cash grab, right? So it's clear that they put a lot of thought into this because the packaging is very unique. The concept is different and very personal to the brand itself. And yeah, generally, I'm actually quite interested in this. This is kind of giving me like Orabella vibes, with the earthy nature of like the whole concept. Like similar to Orbella, this launch is playing around with a lot of natural elements in the marketing. So I am actually really interested in potentially trying this out. I would be open to getting the discovery set just to see what the fragrances actually smell like. And the bottle design does look absolutely beautiful. So yeah, let me know what you think about this launch. I think it's really cool when you see a brand come out with something that looks very well thought out and inventive. So yeah, let me know what you think. Okay, so we have a new launch by Juliette Has A Gun. This is going to be called Ex Vetiver. This is a citrus aromatic perfume with top notes of lemon and bergamot, a mid of Haitian vetiver, Java vetiver, oil and vetiver, and then a base of ambroxan and musk. I really do like vetiver, but actually, no, let me backtrack. Sometimes I really like vetiver in fragrances, sometimes I don't. So this is not necessarily a note that I will just like go for blind. For me, I find it actually a little bit, I don't want to say polarizing, but sometimes I do like vetiver in the fragrance, sometimes I don't, and obviously it depends on all the other notes. This one is just focused apparently on the vetiver, and I feel like I would like this, especially with the ambroxan. I love ambroxan in perfumes, as many of you already know, and I believe this might already be available in store. Is it? I don't know. Yes, I think it is. Okay. So yeah, I would be open to trying this out. This is very green. And again, I don't know if I'm in the mood to wear a green leaning fragrance at this time of year. You know? Yeah. I feel like this would be something I would want to wear maybe in the spring, but not necessarily in the fall. It depends how they're working with that vetiver note or with those vetiver notes, because apparently there are like three vetiver related notes in this launch. So I don't know. Let me know what you think of this launch. Next up, we have another release by Tory Burch. So this is inspired by their handbags, and this fragrance will be called Sublime. So this perfume will have leather and woody notes, but we have top notes of Italian mandarin, peach, and ivy, a mid of osmanthus, magnolia, and rose, and then a base of leather vetiver, and patchouli. And the bottle does look kind of interesting. It's very kind of like inventive. It looks like a Christmas ornament. Yeah, it looks like a Christmas ornament. But to be honest, we've seen bottles that like look terrible, but this doesn't. It just looks like a Christmas ornament in my mind. I'm actually really interested in this. I would be open to trying it out specifically because of the leather note here. I like leather. I like leather a lot, and they're creating this fragrance inspired by the Tory Burch handbags. Um, so again, it's a bit of a personal touch. Yeah, I'm interested in this. I'm not like gonna go out of my way to like try and get it. I mean, I feel like it'll be available in Tory Burch stores, and I do go to Tory Burch every now and then. I have a bag from them, and I do like that bag, but it's not leather. But yeah, let me know. Are you excited about this launch? And I actually do think okay, so this has been done previously by what brand? What brand? Fendi, yes, Fendi did that launch with so many fragrances, and one of them is inspired by their baguette handbag, and that fragrance is actually on my to try list. I really am interested in trying that fragrance out. So yeah, I mean, I feel like it's such a cool, like it's definitely a cool concept when you have brands come out with leather-inspired fragrances as a nod to their handbags. It's kind of like cross-promotion. It's very smart. I really like that idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. A lot of really interesting releases. I feel like we're catching up from last week. So I am actually really interested in some of these new launches. A lot of new launches. We definitely have not slowed down. But thank you so much for watching until the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it interesting, and I'll see you next time. Bye.